So welcome back to the Business Warroom. I'm your host, Vinny G. I wasn't going to record this week. I was supposed to be in Cuomo, but my assistant, Marco, he handed me this email this morning. So I'm drinking my espresso, looking at the skyline, and he hands me this email from a kid. Let's call him Anthony, from out in Jersey. So here I am, I'm reading this thing, and it's actually ruining my coffee. This kid writes to me, he says, quote, Vinny, I got this product. I know it changes lives. I know it works, but I'm terrified to ask for the money. I feel like a shark. I feel salesy. So how do I trick people into buying without them noticing? Trick them? I looked at Marco and I said, delay my flight and turn on the mic. Because if Anthony thinks selling is a trick, then Anthony is going to stay broke forever. And if you think selling is about manipulation or that your price is quote unquote too high, I'm sorry to inform you, but you are fundamentally misunderstanding the architecture of the world we live in. Now, I realized I've been teaching you guys strategy, but I haven't taught you how to sit at the table. So today, we're going to perform an exorcism on your poverty mindset. We're going to talk about the art of the transaction. And I'm going to tell you why Anthony is wrong and why price doesn't even exist. So let's go. Now listen to me, closer. I look around today and I see a lot of noise. A lot of kids running around on social media, screaming about hustle, screaming about grind. They're making all this noise, but they ain't making any money. You want to know why? Because they don't understand the fundamental architecture of a transaction. I've closed deals in boardrooms in Tokyo, and I've closed deals in the back of a deli on 18th Avenue in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. The mechanics, they don't change. But today I'm going to give you the blueprint, the real blueprint. Not the stuff you read in a textbook written by a guy making $60K a year. This is how you get to the 3 comma club. So first thing, and you got to get this through your head or we can't move forward. Price does not exist. It's a myth. It's a phantom. Nothing is cheap. Nothing is expensive. It is purely a matter of perspective. Let me give you an example. A bottle of water is 50 cents at the bodega. It's $5 at the airport. And it's $1,000 if you're crawling through the Sahara, dying of thirst. The water didn't change. The desire changed. The context changed. So stop pricing your products or services based on costs. That's for accountants. Accountants work for us. We don't think like them. Price based on value. Price based on the size of the problem you were solving. You want to make $1 million? Solve $1 million problem. You want $1 billion? Solve $1 billion problem. It's simple math, but nobody does it. They're too busy focusing on sales tactics. So the word salesy, people ask me, Vinny, I don't want to sound salesy. Nobody knows what salesy even means. It's a ghost story broke people tell each other. And here's the truth. If you don't believe in your product or your service, you are a fraud. If you believe in it and you don't try to sell it to me, then you're just selfish. You're withholding the solution to my pain. So if you have no trust, you have no sales. It's binary. It's 0 or 1. Now, let's talk psychology for a second. The human brain is a fascinating, irrational machine. We like to think we are creatures of logic, right? We're not. We're creatures of emotion who use logic to cover our tracks. People buy on emotion. They buy the feeling. They buy the security. They buy the prestige. And then, 5 minutes later, they use logic to justify the purchase to their wife. Honey, I bought the Mercedes because it has a high safety rating. Garbage. You bought it because you wanted to feel like a king. You bought it because of the status signaling. Now, if you're selling features, you're losing. If you're selling experience, the feeling, now you're dangerous. So you got to understand, people don't buy the drill, they buy the hole in the wall. Actually, scratch that. They don't buy the hole. They buy the picture of their family hanging on the wall, covering the hole. That's the emotional anchor. So you wanted a tactical tip, right? You want to know where the money is? Referrals. It's the easiest money on the table. But you guys, you're too scared to ask. You close a deal, you shake hands, and you run away before they change their mind. That's what I call amateur hour. See, after I deliver value, after I save their lives, I look them in the eye and I say, who else do you know that has this problem? You don't beg. You offer to help their friends. You frame it as a service. That's the nuance. And while we're at it, you need to shut your mouth. See that? That silence? That's where the deal closes. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. That's the ratio. Use it. The best salesman isn't the guy talking a mile a minute. It's the guy who asks one question and then listens so hard the prospect tells him everything. Empathy's the killer app. If you talk, you're selling. If you listen, you are closing. But look, I know some of you want the shortcut. You want the crypto coin, overnight, lottery ticket nonsense. Let me tell you something about overnight success. In my experience, an overnight success takes about 5 to 7 years. Now, are you willing to wait? Are you willing to eat dirt for 5 years? You're going to suck at sales at first, let's be honest. It's unavoidable. It's like the first time you do it. You probably have no idea what you're doing. It's awkward. You're fumbling around, but you don't quit. You practice. You get the rhythm. And eventually, it's an art form. It should feel good. If selling feels like you're pulling teeth, you're doing it wrong. Selling should feel like helping. It should feel like rain in London, inevitable. So here's the order. 1, get out of your head. Action beats strategy. You can't steer a parked car. 2, be fast. Speed is money. Professional responsiveness closes 44% of deals. And 3, be a human being. Don't act, be. And remember, price is a myth, but the check is real. I want to thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Business Warroom podcast. I hope that answers your question. Don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Now get out of here and go solve a problem. Peace.